Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction, or read through, whatever, for Tower of God Chapter 606, or Season 3, Episode 189. Extremely excited as always to be recording. Gonna try to not have too long of a massive long Haku intro, but there are a couple things to talk about before getting into it. I'm excited to read. Rack was in the thumbnail for this one, clicking onto it. So I guess we're going to stick with the game that's going on and stuff, but we've been jumping around a lot. We've been seeing a lot of really, really cool stuff. So who knows what we could be in for. It has been so hard not to be spoiled. Not to spoil myself, really. I feel like I said this in the big discussion that we just recently had, me and a lot of the other big Tower of God YouTubers, where we were talking, and I was like, so being 12 weeks behind, or however long it is not ideal. It hasn't been nearly as bad as I thought it would be, but it is very blatantly not ideal. Last chapter, I wanted to say that I heard that there was a spoilery character added to one of the mobile games. I think there are two big mobile games. I'm not sure which one it is. And I was just like, wow, we are so far behind. Webtoons is just slacking so much, really, that, again, I've mentioned before, we're behind even the free Korean release, not even FastPass stuff. So, again, it'd be okay if we were just behind on FastPass stuff, but we're behind on free stuff. So Webtoons has just been such a mess that people are getting spoiled by the mobile game, which is insane to me, and it's been hard not to spoil myself. I mentioned it being easier than I thought it would be to not be spoiled. Honestly, I really haven't had problems with other people spoiling me. The problems I have is I love Tower of God so much. I'm looking at so much Tower of God stuff, and it's so difficult for me to not get so absorbed in it that I'm searching things that are sketchy and accidentally spoiling myself. Like I mentioned last week, I started watching Dr. Jace Attorney's reactions to Tower of God. He just started. He's like way back on season 1, like on Crown Game or something. And he's somebody that played the mobile game first, didn't even watch the anime first, played the mobile game, and is coming in to read the manhwa. And the mobile game is something that I think it was Pyro also talked about. So it is crazy to me how big the mobile game is, that there are people that are into that are transitioning over to the webtoon. That's crazy. And what's funny is because I was watching his stuff, I was like, oh, I want to look up some stuff with the mobile game and everything. And I saw on one of the wikis, there was this tab that's like upcoming characters. And I think that's where the spoilery one is. And it was so hard not to click on it. It was so hard to not just be like, I could take a little peek. But like, it's so hard to resist looking at things that could spoil me. Same with, again, I always search for Nai's reaction every week. That way I can watch the reaction from the like actual YouTube search rather than going to his channel where there will be spoilery thumbnails. So I avoid them that way. But again, there's just this like air of, do I want to not avoid them? Like, there's always this temptation there, especially with the past 3 or 4 weeks. People have really been hyping it up. And I don't know if that means hyping it up as in it's really good, hyping it up as in it's really important, but it's just made it that much harder. It's made me incredibly excited for the future to get to that stuff, but it's, again, so hard to hold back. It's so hard to hold back. So also, talking about one quick topic that I did want to get into, that I did want to talk about a little bit, because I've been going back through Hell Train before, and this isn't even really related to Hell Train very much, before I get into reading. Hopefully, again, it won't be that long, but I felt like with what's going on here with the game, it might be kind of important. So something that I was thinking about is, aside from rule breakers, which can break rules, and irregulars, which aren't bound by the rules to begin with, it is interesting to me. I brought this up, I think, in the big discussion. We're in a game right now that's being handled by the administrators, and we've seen before certain rules where the guy got burnt up into nothingness by trying to attack Kaiser because there was a contract with the administrator that you are going to burn up if you try to fight Kaiser without it being an open challenge, or without collecting the names of the 10 bosses first. So it seems like any regular normal tower inhabitant that tries to break the rules of a game or something might just get killed because of breaking the rules of the game or whatever. So I feel like that may be something that plays a part here, but it also plays a part in, I'm going to kind of a little bit talk about power scaling. I don't think power scaling is a massive thing. I like to think of anything as anyone can beat anyone with the proper preparation. We've seen that Kun is able to teleport a bullet to kill the Windbird, because of just the chaos going around, and characters like Haku Shibisu were able to help with that. But aside from that, the biggest cope in the tower I keep seeing, something that set me off about it is I saw it recently where somebody was like, oh, Adori's rated that high, but she's probably not that strong. I mean, she's not an irregular. And I think that's especially seeing after what Machia can do. I feel like that's the biggest cope in the tower. Again, what sort of influence could you possibly have to be ranked that highly? The family heads are irregulars. They have an entire 10 family system that works for them. Most of them are the rulers of multiple floors. There's no reason that somebody should be ranked above them based on influence alone if they can't stand with them in some ways. And again, I think that I've mentioned this a million times, that characters are kind of special in circumstance that are up there. I think every character up there is probably special in some sort of circumstance, and the biggest evidence is like Eurasia N, who's the child of one family head and another family head who has the blood of Zahard injected into them, and I think it could be something. We don't know how the immortality contracts work. I really think, genuinely, that Eurasia N could be stronger than Blossom or Gaston. So say Eurasia N versus Gaston, Eurasia N wins, but because of the immortality contract, we don't know how it works. Does a killing blow just not affect a family head because of the immortality? Or would they die, but just resurrect, or just regenerate over time? We don't exactly know how it works. But I really genuinely think it's a thing where some Tower-born people could be stronger than, could even kill one of them, but even if they could, they would just regenerate. Unless, of course, you're using rule-breaking powers. And to me, again, after seeing Machia, after thinking more about the Slayers, it's not just about waiting for Bomb. I think a big part of FUG's plan could have been to have an irregular, so they needed Bomb, to destroy the contract, and then there's no more immortality, since Bomb can just touch spells and break them, and we don't know, maybe that works for contracts as well. But seeing as all of the Slayers have rule-breaking powers, it feels like being a rule-breaker, again, I've said it a bunch of times, is kind of a requirement for Slayer, and it feels like rule-breakers could get around that contract and be able to take down a family head, because if not, what's the point of them? What's the point of making Yama a Slayer, but not making somebody like Jinsung a Slayer? Because Jinsung doesn't have some sort of rule-breaking power, but all the Slayers we've seen so far have, except for Murchia, but Murchia probably does. Maybe spells are, who knows? But something that I always kind of got crucified in the comments for, when I'm like, Bomb's allies can totally keep up with him and be high ranker level by the time we're in the hundreds of floors or whatever. They're like, nah, regulars should never be able to beat rankers. Going back, there was... So here I'm going to lay out some evidence. First of all, like, the thing that kills the argument for me is sometime recently, I think it was with Lobadan's army pulling up to the Popodao army or something, they mentioned, oh, there are soldiers here who were ranker level. So these are people, we learned from Kun's flashbacks and stuff that the regulars from the Kun family had to train and sort of rise to the top before they could even be, you know, maybe selected to be a regular to climb the tower, let alone going on to being a ranker. And so people from the Kun family were already trained pre-entering the tower, and a lot of places are probably like that. So these are people who didn't even become regulars, who didn't even climb the tower. They're just a guy. That's just a soldier who's ranker level. And so to me, a regular being ranker level, if they're incredibly powerful, is reasonable. If some random guy that hasn't even climbed the tower can be ranker level. And another thing behind it is in a blog post from back in it's Workshop Battle, actually, that's when it was. It was mentioned that princesses who are from the 10 families, because they both have the 10 families blood, which makes a person naturally stronger, and have Zahard's blood, which makes you stronger on top of that, are often, it's common for them to be stronger than rankers while they're still regulars. And something that, again, people always cope with when bringing up this kind of stuff. People will always be like, but Adori was the only one other than Bomb to have defeated a test ranker. It's like, yes, because why would anybody other than maybe FUG be trying that? Bomb is special. Bomb is the main character. Bomb is doing all this crazy stuff that's pretty much never been done before. And you've got to think, if Bomb and his allies weren't doing the things they were doing, if we were just following a normal group up the tower, a normal regular takes the test, goes to the next floor. Takes the test, goes to the next floor. When or why are they going to fight a test ranker? All they got to do is take the test and go to the next floor. So it makes sense that only 2 have done this. And then, of course, like, you would get into things where Arie Hageferion and Yurik Mazuno were able to beat Arie Hone's special 100th floor test, which I think consists of surviving in a fight with him for over 5 minutes or something like that. So again, if they can do that when they're at the 100th floor, again, some of Bomb's allies, it's something that I have to bring up too. We know that there are billions, maybe trillions of people in the tower, because every floor of the tower is as big as the Americas. It's like multi-continental size. So there's like billions or trillions of people here, and there are millions of regulars, and then 100,000 rankers, etc., etc. But there are millions of regulars, and out of those millions, Bomb's allies are Princesses of Zahard. They're not just 10 family members, but like impressive 10 family members. Rak is a pure-blooded native one, which was thought by Datakun Edwan to have completely been wiped out. That there weren't any pure-blooded native ones left, but Rak is one. And even then, out of millions, the top 10 whatever rank they were they D rank, I think? But the top 10 regulars, you had Novik and Quattro on Bomb's team, and then when you get up to the top 5, you've got Anak, Andrasi, Chang, and Ron? I think Ron was the one I was forgetting. And they all became Bomb's allies. You go up a level, they get to the next rank. The top ones there, Sachi, Elaine, Lilial, and Chilial, are all now Bomb's allies. We had regulars that were coming down from higher floors, because remember, like, during Workshop Battle, Shibisu's team was already higher up, but they came down to compete in the Workshop Battle. Well, when we were at Last Station, Zahard and the 10 families were calling regulars, special regulars that worked for them, that they were sponsoring from higher floors to come down to the Last Station, and those regulars that were coming down were still being like pretty much no diff, just one shot by like Miseng. So again, lower tier, I think most people consider Miseng one of the lower tier members of Bomb's allies, was still wiping out regulars from higher up in the tower. So I feel like them being sort of ranker level isn't too ridiculous, and them being high ranker level by the time we're near the top is something that was always going to happen, because like I said in that discussion, there was no way Tower of God's story was just going to be Bomb's team gets to the top, they hang around as rankers for a couple hundred years, then they continue the story. It's like, no, when we're there at the top, we're going to be dealing with stuff like collecting the 13-month series, finding the key to open the door, probably direct conflict with these top of the tower people like Zahard and the family heads. So at that point, Bomb's allies are going to have to be special, and they are all special characters. Characters like Kasano was wiping out an entire station by himself, and again, I consider Kasano one of the lower tiers. Characters like Haku were protecting an entire place of regulars for years and were considered the strongest scout regular among that rank. So I just feel like it is fair. And one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because we're going to get into the rack stuff with Dumas. And at first, I'm glad I didn't harp on this last week, because last week I was kind of thinking to myself, it's a bit silly to have Kun just running away from Dumas, who we just saw clashing with Trauma Ray and not getting absolutely demolished. But then it kind of hit me. I'm glad I didn't harp on about that. because Dumas shouldn't be trying to kill them. They're his father's chess pieces. Dumas's whole goal here is to get Bomb safely to the arena, to Gaston. So with that in mind, his goal wouldn't be to take out Kun and Rak, to actually fight Kun and Rak. If anything, his goal would be to capture them, to be Mama Chicken, to be Mama Bird, and take them in to be like, Bomb, come with me, and then take Bomb to Gaston, which Bomb doesn't really want because it's like losing part of his freedom. But really, in the grand scheme of things, Dumas is kind of on their side. Because outside of this game, or like, well, I mean, even inside of this game, they're Gaston's pieces. He's not going to want to take them out. He's going to want to have them for Gaston. So I'm glad I didn't harp on too much about that. I've probably forgotten other things that I wanted to discuss here just because this was so unorganized. But this is a 16-minute long Haku intro. I don't like talking about power scaling that much, but I thought it was worth talking about in the sense that it annoys me to see people being like, no, some of these higher tier people, they're just there because of influence. They're not actually that strong. When it's like, no, they probably are. They probably are actually that strong. Byakuya is probably called like the strongest wave controller. Probably for a reason. He might not be able to kill a family head because of the immortality contract, and we don't know how that works, but he's probably that strong. And the same goes with Bomb's allies being able to stand up to rankers at this point. It's like, they're all very, very special cases, and a lot of the rankers we've seen them up against aren't that great. And this is the first exception. This is the first exception where we're seeing Eldrazi and Kun and Rak in the mix with like high rankers, presumably, in the mix with people who are like branch leaders. And so I think there's probably going to be some extra rules of this game that are going to work in their favor, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm going to start reading. Sorry for the long intro if you didn't like it, but this is something that I just wanted to talk about and want maybe your opinions on, because I do feel like I probably forgot points of that I was supposed to bring up. But it is what it is. Either way, we have a violence warning at the beginning, and we have Dumas here. Is that turtle really human? At this point, I think it's safe to say he's not human. Run! And Kun's still running away. He's charging at them. Rak, I'm not running anywhere. I'm going to fight. That damn alligator. What the hell is he talking about? Season 3, Slay the Chess Pieces 1. Okay, so we are now changing from Enkidu to Slay the Chess Pieces. Remembering the Enkidu and Gororo stuff kind of made me wonder, oh no, is there more stuff I forgot to talk about? Honestly, I think Enkidu isn't going to stay as just a living thing, a host inside of Gororo's body for that long. I really think Enkidu is actually getting taken out. I think most likely ending up, since just the hints of it being taken into Rachel, sort of like the Red Thrissa or something was taken into Bomb, since the hints were kind of planted there with the Gaston stuff, I think there's a good chance that Enkidu is either ending up back with Traumerei, back under Traumerei's control, or ending up as a part of Rachel. Or just getting killed, maybe. I don't think Enkidu is staying as an independent acting piece of the puzzle for very long. And then we have him coming in with his foot, slamming down onto Rak. And then, what are you doing? Don't be a fool! Kun's like kicking him. He pulls out the, what was it called? I think it was called Rosario. Was his carrier. Let go of me. I had forgot that it actually had a name. I just thought they called it the carrier until Amy Angel's recent reaction when they were like, oh, Ignite Carrier Rosario. I was like, oh, it has a name. Let go of me. I want to fight. Let go of me. Something isn't right. That guy could kill us instantly if he wanted to. He definitely shouldn't want to kill them because they're his father's chess pieces. Why does he keep following us and avoid attacking us directly? I mean, you'd figure Kun would be thinking something like that. And that's another thing with... It's something that Pyro complained about in his reaction that I kind of had issues with myself and talked about last week, where Rack hears this entire explanation of the game going on. He gets the chess piece and he's like, oh, is this chocolate? And it's, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't portray Rack as that stupid. And even Kun here, like, we kind of flip-flop back and forth on portraying Kun as really smart when we need him to be, but then Kun just very often just being totally clueless. He must be up to something. I'm sure of it. Hey, cut it out. And Rack is still throwing the Mad Shocker. Those two are the Irregulars' teammates. All I have to do is keep threatening them like this and chase after them. If I do that, eventually, the Irregular will reveal himself. We see Bomb. Okay, what are these panels? It's faint, but I sense it. Something's vibrating. Is there a battle somewhere? And he's using the Blue War. It's far away. He takes off. I better hurry. Inside the Sprout, Kun and Rack sighed. We're back to them still. I was right. He pretends to attack us while maintaining a certain distance and following us. He's definitely up to something. And I know what he's after. Bomb. He's putting us in danger in the hope of making Bomb appear. And then we have the chibi diagram. He wants to capture him. Damn it. I really don't want to play along with his little game. But we can't let him catch us either. So there's nothing else we can do right now. And then, who's that? Oh? Wee Wee. That's the guy who was taken hostage earlier. So we're finally seeing some of the Lopobia the pieces. The branch leader. I wondered who was causing all this commotion. Just my luck. It's you, huh, Dumas? This is great. These two belong to the two families that are at war with each other. Dumas will want to fight the branch leader to steal his chess piece. And while they're fighting, we'll slip away. You can have my chess piece, Dumas. Oh? Huh? So is he just... Traumeray has no one loyal. I surrender. And he's the rook? What? Take it. What are you talking about? You two are enemies. Why would you just hand over your chess piece? I realized something in that last battle. The Lopobia family's a lost cause. Traumeray has nobody loyal. I don't want to fight anymore. What an interesting weapon he has going on here, too. I was told to surrender when I joined this game anyway. Oh, the people joining were told to surrender. So we joined the game with the intention of betraying the Lopobia family. Nothing but betrayal. What about the other branch leaders? And that's something that I think it's Naya has talked about a lot, where it seems like a big theme here is that Gaston has actually been loyal to his family and treated them well enough, like even if he's not super fatherly or affectionate, he's treated them well enough that Tiara, Dumas, they're loyal to him, but Traumeray has just been so at arm's length. Traumeray has been so neglectful towards his family that they are either quick to jump off the ship like Wee Wee's doing here, or quick to absolutely turn on him like Kirin's doing. It doesn't matter to me whether or not you surrender. I'm not here for some silly game. I only came to serve my family head. My goal is to capture the Irregular. Then make sure to put in a good word for me with the family head and tell him I helped you. As long as you guarantee my safety in this war, I'll gladly help you catch the Irregular. Are you thinking of using those two as hostages to lure the Irregular to you? Shit, this isn't what I had in mind. Rack? If Bomb appears now, we'll only be a burden to him. So follow my lead, okay? We need to tear these two apart at all costs. What? Once we separate them from each other, we have to find the Lopobia family head. Because he can tear those two pieces for real. Okay, so they're going to use Traumeray against them, since everybody's turning on him. Listen, you two, it's all fine and dandy if you want to team up like this, but you seem to be overlooking something. What? You see this alligator here? He's actually the king. He looks shocked. What? The king? Okay, that does shake things up. What's he talking about? Are you serious? Yep, so if you catch him, the leader of the Lopobia family that you're about to betray will win this game. In that case, that means he may win the war as well. What do you think would happen if he found out that you betrayed him like this? Wouldn't it be better to take this guy to your family head instead? You expect me to believe that? It doesn't matter if you believe me. The outcome of the game will speak for itself. Also, something we talked about on Discord was Rack throwing his piece away could go either way, where somebody could just pick up his piece and take his piece without Rack even being defeated, and that piece could be lost. But I think what's more likely, because it's more of the CU comedy thing, is that Rack is captured or maybe even defeated, but Rack's piece isn't, and so for some reason they're like, yeah, you defeated Rack, but you didn't capture the piece that he was holding or kill him or whatever, so that means that Rack's piece is technically still on the board. I could see something like that happen just because it's the common Rack comedic relief thing to do. Go, alligator! And he throws him again! Goon just tossing Rack around this chapter. And the two of them immediately go after him. Damn it. So they do get torn apart. That little bastard. He's lying. Gah, Rack is falling. I'm falling. Wait, I just remembered something. I can fly. He darts out of the way. Stop right there, you little prick. And then Kuhn's laughing. Oh? Damas didn't go after him. What are you still doing here? Why didn't you go after him too? Because I know you're lying. Too bad. You're more observant than I thought. I guess I don't have a choice. It's risky, but I have to do it. Please, the truth is, take the bait. I'm Pobadow's king. He's pulling some crazy Mambar and Dana, like, illusion lighthouse shit, isn't he? And then he produces the piece. The king? Just in case. That's right. I'm the one with Pobadow's real king. If I die or lose this piece, your family leader loses the game. So yeah, I think that Rack is going to maybe be defeated, but not actually die or the piece be taken. So that means Rack's piece is still safe. I took out the chess piece I've been carrying around with me this whole time. The branch leader's never seen this game's chess pieces up close. You know what that means, right? Even if he has good vision and caught a glimpse of it, that's not the king. He can't tell which piece is the real king. What? Excuse me? You have to protect me. I'm sorry, what? So did he swap his piece? Kuhn was the pawn, though. I'm sorry. Branchhead, they're definitely talking about Wee Wee. But well, I'm a little confused by this one. I don't know if it's the translation. I don't know if it's me. I can't believe I actually found a way to use that power to my advantage. Hey, stop right there. He's running away. Damn it, I hate having to run away. It's not my style. I could easily kill that alligator if I wanted to, but I have to catch him alive no matter what. That's the only way to ensure that we win this game. Okay. Oh, and is this reshoot? The blood forming up. What the? Reshoot. Okay. Wee wee. Perfect timing. I need you to grab that alligator for me. What? Why? Are they on the same team? That alligator is Pobadow's king. Shit. I'm so not used to running away. Hey, you're not going anywhere. And she sends the blood after him from her wing. It's going towards him. She's going to catch me. And is this Tiara? Who is this going to be? She's shocked. No, it's Bomb, actually. So Bomb's meeting up with Rack. That's him. Are you okay, Rack? Turtle! Alright. It's the Irregular. Hey, Irregular. It's your fault we were dragged into this mess. You've got some nerve showing up here like this. For shoot, this is our chance. What? The alligator with the king and the Irregular are both extremely important in this war. We can capture them both, or we can capture both of them. Both of them? Is that really necessary? Think about it. This could decide our fate in this game. In fact, not only the game, but in the war as well. We can use those two as bargaining chips and get a good deal for ourselves. This would give us enormous power. We might even be more powerful than Kirin. Just imagine the sight of both families bowing before us. I must say, That does sound rather tempting. Okay. And we have the standoff with her and him and Bomb and Rack. And that's where we end. This was the lightest chapter we've had in a long time, but I'm fine with it because over half of this video was already discussion. And let me show the credits on screen. Hang on. There we go. Because it was like a lighter chapter, but I had a lot of stuff to discuss anyway. So most of this was discussion, unrelated mostly to the chapter. But yeah, I don't mind it kind of being on the lighter side because I think we need that from time to time. I think that we need to build up to have our climactic moments. So building up through this game, seeing the pieces move, while right now on the week to week is probably going to be kind of meh. I know again that people have been hyping up the past few weeks, so I know it's going to get somewhere. And I think that it's important to build to it. I think it's important to get all of these pieces moving and to see just the fun little whatever normal stuff in order to make that stuff actually work, in order to reach our conclusions. And I also think that though on the week to week, like I said, it's kind of whatever this week. On the week to week, it's like that. I think that marathoning this will be very fun. I think that people who are marathoning it, people who are behind, it's going to blow right by. It's not going to feel like, now I have to wait a week for another one. So that's fair. I have a lot of stuff coming. So because of that, I like a lot of Tower of God stuff, a lot of stuff unrelated to Tower of God. So I've got a lot more to talk about. I've got a lot more I want to do. Again, I feel a little off about my discussion at the beginning. I just feel like because I didn't structure it, because I was just sitting around talking about Tower of God off the top of my head, there was probably things that I didn't explain the best way I could. There were probably things that I forgot, that I left out, that I shouldn't have. So that kind of bothers me a little bit. But I'm going to run edit this, get it up for all of you. Again, I thought the chapter was fine. I was a little confused on some things, but I think either getting around to next chapter or checking out some of the other translations will help me understand a bit better. And of course, people will, even if I clearly understand something, even if I talk about and discuss something, I will get comments acting like I didn't. Like, ever since I started YouTube, that's just a thing you got to get used to, making YouTube videos. Ever since I started YouTube, I will cover an episode of something or a chapter of something, and I'll talk about it. I'll discuss it. And then I'll get, like, if I were to use this chapter, for example, I'll get a comment that says, like, oh, it's really cool how Rashut can actually use blood with her wings. It didn't seem like you understood that, but if you were paying attention, she uses blood from her wings, and that's actually the way that she fights. And I'm just, this over-explaining of things that is very apparent and that I talked about, it's very clear, or that I express no confusion with. Like, it's one thing if you're helping me with things that I was confused with or didn't really get. I think that's good. But there are very often times when people are explaining things that nobody had any question about, and I'm just like, were you reading the same thing? Were you watching the video? Because there are very often times, and every YouTuber will say this, where you'll get comments that are like, that make you question, did you watch the video? Because this comment doesn't make sense if you watch the video. There are very often moments like that. So again, I'm sure that whatever I didn't understand, again, like I said, since I get comments explaining things that I clearly understood, I'm certain that since there were things that I was kind of like, what about, people will help me with it. So yeah, I'm gonna hurry up and end this so I can actually post the video. I'm sorry it's been such a mess. I'm sorry it's so long. I'm just talking through it. I'm just having fun, sharing my experience with Tower of God with you all. And thank you for being here for it. Like, if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me whatever you thought about the chapter or my thoughts or whatever. I can't wait for the exciting stuff in the future. But until then, it seems like we might have to get through some of this game. And I kind of want to see this game. I want to see this stuff that's going on right now. I just, this chapter was kind of meh. It was kind of whatever. I'm hoping for maybe a better one next week. Just tell me what you thought of my thoughts and all that. Subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, then just ask and I can give you a link. If you would like to help support the channel, drop a super thanks down below if you want to. If you'd like to, in addition to supporting, knowing that you're helping me to continue to make videos, if you want to get a shout out at the end of every video, if you want to get One Piece videos early, then hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/HakuOfTheTubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, Efranono and Abyss Knight, Cherryton Student, David Langstaff, and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pati Ardial. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support, patrons and members. Thank you, everybody, for being here through what honestly feels like a mess of a video. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time.